Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more of the Cretan Chronicles. Now, last time we battled the Minotaur and it did not go very well for us, partially because we had been forced to leave some of our equipment behind, namely our breastplates, the useless sharp knife that we're not particularly going to keep for very much, the old non-magical breastplate, and let's look at this, right? The Minotaur has a might of 15 and protection of 22. There we go. Additionally, it has a special rule whereby the first time it is seriously wounded, it ignores that hit. So essentially it takes one more wound than anything else to seriously wound, and therefore one more wound than anything else to kill. Now, with our reduced equipment, Altheus has a might of 8 and a protection of 15. Wait for it. But the magical shield grants an extra 2 protection against supernatural creatures like the Minotaur, as denoted by the asterisk, after its might score, not after its name. We can just pop back to... oh, it was literally the very next page. There we go, there's the asterisk. So he actually has a protection of 17. And we had around 30 honor points when the fight began. So, if we had somehow managed to retain the rest of our equipment, we would have had a protection score of 23. Big difference. Now, let's go review the combat rules. Come on. So, an 11 or 12 automatically hits, and a 2 or 3 automatically misses. Meaning that with our might of 8, we would still need an 11 or 12 to land a blow on the Minotaur without spending honor. It also means, because 8 plus 12 is 20, that we would need to spend at least 3 honor points to bring it down to a 10 to land a blow. This is incredibly challenging. And there's not a lot that we can do to gain additional might points, except for maybe worship Ares for, I think, an extra point of might, which even then we'd go down to needing 11s. So we need to spend a lot of might in this fight just to land hits. Now the Minotaur has a might score of 15. To strike our protection of 17, it needs to roll a 4, because a 2 or 3 always misses. Which means, if we wanted to spend honor points to protect ourselves, the first 2 honor points would make no difference to the enemy attack whatsoever. So the overall flow of the combat is, we launch an attack that is almost guaranteed to miss, spend a lot of honor to make it down to needing something like an 8 or 7 to hit, and then the Minotaur probably hits us. If we had retained all of our equipment for a protection of 23, the Minotaur would require a 8 to strike us, which is a massive difference. And it actually means that it may miss sometimes. And yes, we could spend honor to prevent being struck. However, we're going to need to spend so much honor to land 4 blows that it's going to be truly horrific. And of course, once seriously wounded, either opponent goes down to 1 die to hit, and 6s do not automatically hit, 1s do not automatically miss. If we become seriously wounded, we can't hit the Minotaur. Oh, wait. My maths is all off. Because we're using the magic sword, our might would be 10. Okay. In which case we would need 12s to strike. We would need to spend at least 2 might instead of 4 to get it down to 10s. We'd probably want to spend 4 might to get it to 4 or 5 might to get it down to 8s or 7s, just to stand a reasonable chance. Which means spending about 15-20 might until the Minotaur is badly wounded. With 17 shame, that is tricky. So chances are, if we had all our equipment, we would be slightly below our shame at the end of the fight, gain the honor for defeating the Minotaur, and rise just above it. It's a gamble because I haven't looked to see how much might felling the Minotaur would grant us. However, it would appear that the only way to keep all our equipment and stand a chance in this fight at all is to gain the favour of Demeter, the mother of Persephone. I went through the entire book skimming for the name of the goddess Demeter alone and the word favour, and because this is an image PDF and they haven't been able to scan in the text, they've scanned in as pictures essentially. I can't use the search bar. I had to literally go scrolling through page after page. Look, is she there? Nope. I did find how I can gain the favour of the goddess Demeter. It's in book 1, as I suspected in the last episode. Now, I handled book 2 fairly well. I really did. Things could have gone very badly, because obviously while skimming through and searching I saw a few things but didn't look too intensely. So I could have handled things much worse. I did pretty well, and the only thing that screwed me over was events that occurred in book 1, or a location I did not visit. We would need to visit the... where are we? Ah yes, the map. The village of Eleusis, which is near Athens. We must have gone to somewhere else to try, I think maybe a temple of Apollo, to try and I'll need to work out how to definitely include that. I think after Eleusis we could still go to Athens and do the whole stuff with the Amazons and then go through the island chain. But essentially, there's not really very much I can do in the second book to make this fight against the Minotaur any easier. I mean, it's got a higher resistance, a higher protection value than the Sea Serpent from book 1, or possibly even Talos from book 1. You know, it is really, really tough. So, as you know in this series, I've been using the beginning of each book as a save point that I can go back to, but in this case I'm going to have to go all the way back to the beginning of book 1 if I want to stand a chance here. So that's what I'm going to do. And because I am going to be avoiding bad clues and things that give me shame, there's going to be enough of a difference that I think I'm going to redo the whole playthrough. Joy. So, Altheus has a natural might of 4 and a protection of 10. Honor starts at 7, so we have some, and shame at none. We begin fully healthy. We will reset all the gods to neutral. And note that gaining the favour of Dionysus was extremely helpful in both Book 1 and Book 2. Additionally, we may not wish to anger the Furies, because we will meet them again, I believe, in Book 3. There we go. Combat. Yeah. Did we not begin with a club? I do seem to vaguely recall this. A club, yes. Okay. So that brings our might up to 5. And nothing else. So very much like Heracles starting out at the beginning of his 12 labours. Although, does he not also... He has a bow by the 2nd or 3rd labour. No, because after he slays the Hydra, he dips his arrows in its blood to make them poisonous. So he has a bow, but he doesn't use it in that 2nd task because he knocks off the heads of the Hydra with his club. And I know people like to say he cuts them off with a sword, but that's more of a revisionist edition later on. And we will scrap all of these, apart from my reminder about Eleusis, because that's not a hint or clue, that's just me writing something down. And it's always interesting that we get these 2 copies of the character sheet, this one default base one and another sort of example one filled in. But with the wound track, it looks like you could just play with this one, you know. Anyway, here we go. Trembling with terror at the tale of Hermes, you rush out of your cottage and into the fields. You search for your mother, Aethra, and find her hundled under a... Hundled? Probably should be Aethra, shouldn't it, actually, because of the Greek AE. It's not like the Norse AE, where they join together and make one letter, but... Anyway. Trembling with terror at the tale of Hermes, you rush out of your cottage and into the fields. You search for your mother Aethra and find her but huddled under a spruce tree tending the goats, not bundled. In haste you blurt the words of the god. My son, replies your mother, the words of the god fill me with sorrow, but they are true, for the gods never lie. You must follow the orders of the winged messenger. Travel to violet-crowned Athens and seek out your father, Aegeus. Okay, so it's not always like an E. That's the other one I'm thinking of. Right. Take with you my jewel, for it was once your father's, and he will surely recognize it. But first, visit Parses, the high priest of Trozen, and take what advice he can give you. Good luck, my son. Prove worthy of your noble father and your dead brother. Having spoken, she turns away lest you catch sight of her tears. You linger a moment then, with the jewel clasped firmly in your hand. Oh, there's a comma before then. I even saw it as well. You linger a moment. Then, with the jewel clasped firmly in your hand, you rush away down the hillside into the town. It is dawn, and rosy-fingered Eos has only just tinged the horizon with red. The streets of Trozen are empty, save for a handful of scurrying slaves already about their master's business, and you come quickly to the temple. The high priest greets you. He already knows of your errand. Altheus, before you lies a great journey to lands of which you have never even dreamt. Many dangers await you. Without the aid of a god you cannot prevail. Choose now a patron god or goddess to guide and help you. Grey-eyed Athena offers you the gift of wisdom. Ares, god of war, offers strength. If beauty tempts you, think of Aphrodite. Apollo, the archer-god, controls the gift of prophecy, while Hera, queen of the gods, has influence over Zeus. Your travels are sure to take you across seas and oceans, and these are Poseidon's province. Choose now one of these 6 to aid you and pay homage. Good luck, Altheus, son of Aegeus. We will once again choose Aphrodite, as we did last time. She wasn't as much help in the first book as we originally hoped, and I do seem to remember her being more helpful in some instances. Or rather, she doesn't necessarily help often, but when she does, it's very useful. You offer prayers to Aphrodite, then start on the journey to Athens, where your father is king. The road is hard desert, and the sun beats down relentlessly. After many more hours, your feet grow weary and your light grows dim. In the distance, you see a lone horseman galloping towards you. Oh, do we not... What? Hang on. You're hiding in a ditch he's gone past, or carry on? This feels... Wait. Am I... 42... No. Okay, interesting. Because I seem to recall most of them directing back to section 2. After... Okay, hang on. Let's try a few others. 71. Go to section 2. How very odd. 117. Why is this? This is weird. Go to section 2. Oh, Athena. That's why. Huh. Why does Aphrodite not go to section 2? That's interesting. Right, so as we did previously... Yeah, so section 2. Why does Aphrodite get a different outcome? 203, 352, 352 is section 2, 253 that's clearly the wrong section. Now this is mostly because these 203, right. This is mostly because this is scanned in as an image, but occasionally numbers go wrong. So no, they all go to section 2 apart from Aphrodite, which is really quite bizarre. I'm somewhat intrigued, but no, we'll stick with our original choice. I don't know why I even looked at the wrong goddess there. I mean, it's easy to be tempted to look at Aphrodite, but still. In the Temple of Trozen, you bow down at the statue of Athena and pray. The room grows quiet and peaceful. Then, in a shimmering haze, the statue stirs into life. Altheus, son of Aegeus, you have chosen wisely, and wisely shall I aid you in your quest. In return, I ask of you one favour. Go to Crete and recover your brother's body, that it may be buried in Athens with fitting rites. Good luck. Oh, that's an extra objective. That may be difficult. I think it's in the labyrinth itself. Athena is goddess of defensive war, so you may add 1 to your protection value. We shall absolutely do that right now. In addition, you need pay no honour when instructed to do so. If you take a look 20 numbers on and there is a hint. If the penalty is in shame, you must still take it. The statue falls silent and will speak no more. You set out for Athens, where your father is king. And question why Aphrodite doesn't set you on the same road as everyone else. The road is hard and you are soon tired. You struggle up a rocky mountain path. A man and a woman ride past on a horse, deep in conversation. As they gallop on, the dust makes you splutter, but you are out of sight before you can react. Eventually you reach the top of the hill, and, for the first time in your life, can look down into the valley beyond. It is fertile and inviting. You can see high-walled Tyrans in the distance, and a little nearer and to the east Epidaurus, sacred to Asclepius the healer. You drink deeply from the wineskin and press on down the hillside. Now, I don't remember great benefits for gaining the favour of Epidaurus, but we did gain 1 additional wound in the next fight afterwards. So, fighting fantasy rule, left is best. Both paths lead to the same location, but the other one has a fight with a wolf on it. The journey to Tyrans is uneventful, and the path clear of other travellers. You arrive at the high city by... Wait. Let's look at our map. Do both paths lead to the same location? Epidaurus, Tyrans. Oh, this may be a problem. One moment then. Look around, look for somewhere for the night, 200. Just 200, 220, because we know what we're doing here. I believe we can still go to Epidaurus after this. 272. Fight the innkeeper. 21. I'm going to ignore the clue for now. 315. But we won't be ignoring it in actual play. Leave town 263. Ignore that picture we just went past because that's where we actually want to go. Leave Tyrants. Take the track to Epidaurus on my senior. So yes, we can still go to Epidaurus. Which means, was it 45-ish? No, go all the way back to section 2. What the hell? It was like 308, wasn't it? 309. So close. So, the journey to Tyrants is uneventful, and the path clear of other travellers. You arrive in the high-walled city by nightfall. Will you look around, or look for somewhere appropriate to spend the night? We shall look around. Tyrants seems as uninteresting as your journey there. There are a few drunken brawls, but nothing a hero would get involved in. The day's travel begins to sap the strength from your legs, and you feel you must rest. You look for a place to spend the night. Now, the main clue here is the words, but nothing a hero would get involved in. So let's not take the hint, because I think that's a bad one. After you search, you find an inn which is sumptuous and well furnished. Perhaps this is why there are no other guests. You eat and drink deeply with your host, displaying great levendia, and then stumble to your room and collapse on the bed. Your feet stick out over the end, but you manage to curl up and get comfortable. If your patron god is Apollo, he is not. Otherwise, as we are about to become sleepy, we'll take the clue and go to section 220. Before the powers of sleep have brushed closed your eyelids, you open a cupboard to put your clothes away and see there a heap of human skulls. The innkeeper must be a mass murderer. As you hear footsteps approaching, you shut the cupboard and hide behind the door, seizing your club, and completely naked because you've taken your clothes off. Very classical Greco-Roman heroics stuff here. The innkeeper enters with an axe in his hand. When he sees nobody in the bed, he gasps and looks around wildly. Shouting the battle cry of your people, you attack him, take him by surprise and inflict one wound. Then the battle starts with you striking first. Procrustes has a might of 1 and protection of 10, and his axe is might 5, protection -3. Cornered in the room, you cannot retreat. So, Procrustes has a total might of 6 and a protection of 7. And he is wounded. So, with his protection of 7 and our might of 5, we just need to roll above a 3. Okay. We rolled a 2 and a 5, so 7 plus 5 is 12. Procrustes is now seriously wounded. So we immediately progress to section 21. Although we'll make a note of the axe's stats, as he is now very badly hurt indeed. One more hit and he's dead. Procrustes, now seriously wounded, goes berserk rather than surrender. He only rolls 1 die and abandons his axe, but his combat values change to might 12 and protection 5. We could kill him, or we could die, but Zeus would save us. We are fully healthy, our death is unlikely, or we could take the hint. You can. However, disarm him and take him to the city authorities for judgment. You may take his axe, might 5 and protection -3, and continue on your way next morning. We shall take the axe. And we shall note that there is no need to we are not forced to use the weapon with the highest might modifier. However, there's a clue here. Let's take that. Searching the house, you find a breastplate, protection 2. Okay, excellent stuff. So, this means that with our protection of 13, we can safely use the axe at a might of 9 and have protection 10 instead of 8. Let's use the axe for a bit, because there have been a number of fights in the early book where we are outnumbered, and as such, being able to land blows quite reliably helps us significantly. And I do believe that a lot of those fights have been along the lines of the enemies fight you in turn rather than simultaneously. There's also another clue here. Let's follow that. Don't be greedy. Lose 2 points of honor and move on. However, as Athena is our patron, we don't lose any honor points, and we carry on anyway. You leave high-walled Tyrants far behind you as, mulling over the night's events in your mind, your journey north... You journey north to Mycenae. So we'll do that again. You leave high-walled Tyrants far behind you as, mulling over the night's events in your mind, you journey north to Mycenae. The road is high-banked and there are few travellers. Some hours pass and you reach a place where a track joins the road. Unsure of your route, you question a passing farmer on his way to the market at Tyrants. He tells you that the track leads east to Epidaurus, home of Asclepius the healer, but that the road leads as you thought to Mycenae, the lion city, which I think we'll need to visit after Epidaurus anyway. So to Epidaurus we shall go. You trudge along the dusty road. The midday sun beats down on your back. You sit down to take a drink, and as you do, you notice something strange beside the road. You stand up, and when you reach the place, there is a skeleton sheathed in rotten leather armour. Across the road, a boot and a broken rusty sword hilt lie, in evidence of an ancient struggle for the traveller's life. We now know this road is dangerous. The place is overgrown with bushes and scrub. You sigh and utter a quick prayer to your patron for your fate will be that your fate will be a happier one, and that amicable Altheus will live at least to see the halls of his father. But the journey beckons, and you set off again to Epidaurus, but not before taking this clue. This reminds me, there's an impossible clue in Book 2. As in, it's a clue section, it's not a nighttime clue section, and it's less than 20 away from the end of the book, so you literally cannot take the clue. Just as you're about to leave, you notice something glinting in the bushes. You investigate. It is an old rusty helmet, but still useful. For 2 protection. Excellent. So that puts our protection back up at 12, or 15 if we don't want to use the axe. pleased with your find, you continue. Absolutely. You come at last to the town of Epidaurus. You look around in amazement at the crowded streets. Unfamiliar faces push past you and crush you against the high-towered walls. No one stops or notices you, and they all seem miserable, as if abandoned by the gods. Eventually, courage builds itself in your mind, and you seek to converse with a high-born lady. She ignores you with a contemptuous glance. Almost in despair, you seize a passer-by and shake his arm. "Friend," you say, "where is the inn? Why is the town so afflicted? Is Olympian Zeus angry with its people? Do the harpies visit your feast tables laden with the fruits of the earth?" The man only shakes his head and points lamely ahead. You look and see a scruffy tavern. You turn to question the man, but he has scurried off. Resigned, you walk towards the small, squat building. The steps are unwashed and the windows are caked in dirt. A sign above the door tells you that it is indeed a place where you can find a room for the night. We can go in or go away. We shall enter the tavern, as we have been on the road and do need to rest. Inside it is worse than even the wretched exterior suggested. There is a powerful smell of rotting food and unwashed locals. Despite being nearly overcome by nausea, you step up to the bar. "Innkeeper," you shout, "a room for the night!" At the far end of the bar, the innkeeper, a grossly fat, cowardly-looking man, continues to ignore you. Beside you, an old man with bare feet speaks. "Son, if I were you, I would leave at once, for Epidaurus is beset by foul bandits, terrorizing the temple of Asclepius the healer. Go quickly, for they will likely kill strangers, or perhaps, since you hold yourself as a hero, you could rid our town of this curse," he adds, with sarcasm heavy in his voice. The innkeeper has now come over and prefers you a key to the upstairs room. We could pay him and take the key to the room, going upstairs for long-fingered sleep to brush closed our weary eyelids. Or react to the old man's taunt at once and seek the bandits. Let us do that. You are travelling along a road, deeply rutted by the carts of pilgrims, bringing sick ones or gifts to the temple of the healer. Beside the road, the trees and bushes, I don't know what a bushes is, rustle menacingly. The wind whips up spirals of dust from the track which further obscure the road ahead. Now we've already seen the skeleton of a long-dead traveller by the roadside on the other side of town. We know there are bandits, and the bushes rustle menacingly. We will take the clue. As the path narrows, the rustling of the trees seems less natural. You dive into the undergrowth and, as you creep stealthily, you find that your fears are well-founded, for two swarthy-looking men armed with long knives lie in wait for unwary passers-by. We can challenge them to a fight, or simply attack them without warning. While they're lying in ambush, we do know that there is shame and dishonour when acting dishonourably, but the goddess Athena would spring an ambush on them and approve, giving them a taste of their own medicine, as it were. You lose one honour point for attacking an opponent from behind, but in the time you manage to inflict a wound on one of the brigands, and we also manage to not lose an honour point because the goddess Athena understands what we're doing and approves. Getting that wound in is going to really help. The two bandits have a might of 4 and protection of 10, but they carry long knives, which give them an extra 2 points of might. Remember the bonus to the first bandit's might because he is with his one companion. Absolutely. So, We've also wounded one of them, and we'll make it the first one. It doesn't actually matter, because if we'd wounded the second one and took him out first, then... because there are more than one of them, we only need to take them to seriously wounded. So... we will strike out with our axe. A bit overkill. So if we were fighting with our club, we would need 5s to wound them. A 2 and 3 automatically misses, so all the axe is doing is letting us hit on a 4 here. And with that might of 6, they need 7s to strike me, 6s to strike me. They would need 9s if I used the club instead. That's a big difference. We'll stick with the axe for now, though, because I said it already. And we'll roll the attack. 11 plus 9 is 20. We absolutely seriously wound one of them and take him out of the fight. The second one now strikes against us with his might of 6. Yep, 6 and 5 is 11. Our protection, however, is 12, so we are not wounded. We roll high enough to wound him also. And he can now strike at us. We are now wounded. And now we'll try take him out with the axe. We definitely rolled high enough. He is also seriously wounded. Now, interestingly, in the rare situations where multiple seriously wounded foes do fight on, they only do it after... So, they only fight on after it has been determined that they are all seriously wounded, whereas once seriously wounded, they drop out of the fight unless alone. And I have somehow misspelt the name of Hephaestus. Let's correct that. So, both foes seriously wounded. Also, it's worth noting that this series does not maintain the usual gamebook series thing of there being the same number of "We will never surrender," says the leader, and as he does, they impale themselves on their knives. You may have 5 honor points and carry on towards the temple, wondering at the ways of men. Now, there's a clue here. I think it's a bad one. I don't think it's persuading them to surrender. I think it's... Let's take a quick look at that from section 600. Anyway, as I was saying... Yeah, that's shame. We won't. I did say I wasn't going to do it, but I was looking to refresh our memory. Now... 216. As I was saying, there's like 2 multiple fights here, isn't there? It's tough. So there's 620 sections in book 1. Right? Book 2 is only something like 500 sections. And book 3, again, an odd number. Usually, with gamebook series is... Oh, actually, I've got it right here, haven't I? Book 2 has 540 sections. And while we're at it, book 3... ...600 sections. Is that supposed to be passes for priests, I think, possibly? Anyway. So, you know, Fighting Fantasy has 400 sections a book. Lone Wolf has 300 sections a book, except for book 5 or 4. I think it's book 5, which is unusual, which I think has 400 in 2 sections of 200. Other gamebook series like Golden Dragon, I think, tend to have a consistent section count, but I wouldn't, you know, completely. Also, we are wounded, restored to full health after any fight that we survive. A mountain lion roars in the distance, and you hurry onwards, anxious to accomplish the task. The temple is much closer now, and you can see a statue of the god, its face convulsed as if in mortal pain. The fountain of Asclepius flows red with blood. Amazed at this sacrilege, your limbs tremble, and you are filled with a divine fury. Onwards you rush into the temple precinct, bellowing strange words as you go, words which come from the gods, like a boar speared in the frenzied chase, cries out its defiance against the high-hearted hunters. Desecrating curs! The god will punish you for your pitiful pride, thinking that you could defile his temple and escape the price. At this, 2 bandits step forward from the gloom, and where once Asclepius's light shone, saying nothing. You know that you must retreat or fight. We will not retreat now. We will attack. Although possibly of the club, since our defence is so good. You step into the attack. The bandits have a basic might of 4 and protection of 10, but are armed with greaves for 1 protection and long knives, making a might of 6 and protection of 11, which we can hit quite easily with our axe. They will continue fighting even if seriously wounded, fired on by fear of the god. Remember, you may not retreat, as the temple is too enclosed. So, how do we do this? They're going to fight if seriously wounded, but if seriously wounded, they're going to have a hard time hitting me. Might have 5. Oh, 2 for knives. Yeah, okay. So, we don't want to surrender. Right. With our might of 9 from the axe, we can land blows quite reliably. With the might of 7 and 6, yeah, we'll go with our club. Because then we will have a protection of 15. It does mean we'll need to be rolling 6s to hit them, but they will be needing 9, 8 for the first one to hit us. So we'll strike with a club at the first bandit, as they're both uninjured. If I take one of them out of the fight, it doesn't matter which, the survivor will go down to 6 might anyway. So I might as well target the one with the extra might so that I don't forget it. Okay. We strike. A 10. Oh shit, their protection 11. Okay. First one strikes at us. And hits. The second does not hit, so we are now wounded. This is bad news for Altheus. If we had gone in with the axe, they would have needed very low numbers to hit us. +5. I mean, we got good odds. We need to roll a 6. We rolled a 7. He is now also wounded. However, if we become seriously wounded, that is a problem. The first one attacks us. We are seriously wounded. Well, for fuck's sake. And the second, at +6, finishes us off. Fucking brilliant. Great. For God's sake, I should have saved this for next time, shouldn't I? Oh, well. Zeus saves us to 536. Well, this is just fucked up. I'm going to have to replay this again now. Brilliant. Oh, well, I know where this is. Yeah, well, we'll replay this. We'll go... It should be fairly easy. Because there's no damage that continues over between fights. So we'll go find Procrustes. Oh, look, there he is. He's got a protection of 7. So we just need to roll minimum to land a blow. There we are. He's seriously wounded. We take him out and get the axe, the breastplate. And I saw just down here, it was like 221, was it? For the helmet. No. Okay. Oh, that's annoying. Right. Was it 81? For Don't Be Greedy? It was, 263. So, the same place Zeus would have sent us if he had... So essentially he just takes you out of the fight and puts you on the next portion of the adventure and you miss out on the winnings. Road to Epidaurus. $344 for the helmet. And then $277 to go into the town. 36 to enter the inn. $508. And then $528 to take the clue about the ambush. I have a feeling there's a third pair of brigands in the temple after that second pair. Ambush 220, so 462. They are 1 protection less, so these ones are at 10. So we go in hard with the club, as one is already wounded. So 2 dice plus 9. Completely unnecessary, but got him. So he's out of the fight. The second one attacks us and hits. Then we seriously mess him up. However, he does then attack us, and we're fighting a protection to... Oh, okay, so... No, 6. He does seriously wound us, but we are using the axe, so a might of 9. And because we... Oh. Well, that's bad. 1 die plus 9. That's a fucking 1. So now we die because he kills us because we rolled a 1 and missed. So we go through all that again. It's very easy to defeat the innkeeper. We come in, we got the ambush, we take out one of them. The second one hurts us, so we're wounded. For fuck's sake. We rolled a 9. So 9 plus 9 is 18. That is a hit. I've lost track of his health. Damn it. Okay. So. So 1 is wounded. We come in with the axe. Take him out of the fight. The second one wounds us. We wound him massively. So now we're both wounded. Okay, got it. Then he probably seriously wounds us. And with the axe, we don't roll a 1 and take him out of the fight. And then they kill themselves because they are afraid to face the consequences of their actions. And we get the 5 honor points and go on to the temple. Where we face the 2 brigands at section 388, and we're back. So, this is essentially a repeat of the previous fight with the following changes. Our 2 foes each have an additional point of protection. And we do not get to wound one of them before the fight begins. So, in the interest of survival, having a protection of 15 means they need to roll like 8s and 9s to hit us, which is good. And we only need to roll 6 to hit them with the club, which should work better than last time, because last time we just rolled atrociously. So, we attack the man, whichever one of them it is that's gaining the bonus, and wound him. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a hard fight, right? And also completely optional. He attacks us, wounds us, which is bad for us, and we may consider spending honor to stay on our feet. The second man also hits us. We're fucked, okay? We are absolutely fucked. So, needing to roll a 2+ with the axe. There's no point spending honor on this. We absolutely take him out of the fight. Now, a second man attacks us. He's at full health. We will spend 1 point of honor to raise our protection from 15 to 16, and he rolls a 13. We are good. Then we attempt to club him again. Oh shit. Oh, for fuck's sake. I need to redo this fight because I went into it giving myself the might from the axe. So let's just redo that completely. I was giving myself the might from the axe without its protection penalty. There we go. So, doing this properly now. Again. It's a hard fight, okay. So 2 plus 5. We hit, but we consider spending honour to be able to clobber them more effectively with our club. We could have taken a long knife from the Hey, that's a really good point, actually. Hold it. Ooh, 528. So 462. Long knives, 2 points of might, better than a club. Because we get to strip our opponents of their weapons. So we go in with the long knife, not the club. So 216. That changes the odds significantly, actually. 388. I wish I'd noticed that earlier. Right, so we are fighting 2 brigands in the Temple of Asclepius, the god of healers. So that attack was basically a 17. And hey, look, you know, that's still a hit. Now, the first one launches an attack at us. He has a might of 7, so he needs an 8, which he bloody rolled to hit us. We are now wounded. We're now relying on the second one not landing a blow. He did not land a blow at all. That's great. So now, with our long knife and might of 6, we're basically equal to them without the gang up bonus. So we will attack the wounded one. He is now seriously wounded and drops out of the fight. And we don't need that row there. Right. His companion strikes at us. And gets very lucky, and we are now seriously wounded. So at this point, shit. Might of 6, we need a 5 to wound him. I'm going to spend 2 points of honour. To take that down to a 3. We didn't need to spend the honour. I should have had a little more faith. He is now wounded, which is not ideal for us. He attacks us while we are seriously wounded. We will spend another point of honour to raise our protection to 16. He rolls a 15, which would have slain amicable Altheus had we not spent that point of honour, so it was a point well spent. And now, our 1 die plus 6, let's push that to 7 by spending 1 more point of honour, going all the way down to 8. Is 7 good? It's a 4 plus, it's 50-50. We roll a 5 and get him anyway. Another point we didn't need to spend, but we didn't know. He is now seriously wounded. And the fight ends. Having defeated them, we can take the greaves. So now we have armour at the top and bottom of our body. Which we will need should there be even more foes. We were victorious, but spent a lot of honour to do so. And I've got a horrible feeling 2 more brigands come out to fight us now. As the second strong grieved foeman falls, you see the fountain flowing in healing water once more, clear and sparkling with the god's favour. The face of the statue, no longer twisted, smiles and seems to look at you in thanks. You are clearly now a favoured one of Asclepius. Note this on your chronicle sheet. You may also have 6 honour points for your victory in combat. And there's a clue here. We've just been in a really big hard fight. We were seriously wounded. We are in the temple of the god of healing. And Asclepius now looks upon us favourably. We will take the bloody clue. You should drink from the fountain of the healer god. If you do drink, then in the next combat only the god will aid you. Instead of being wounded, when an opponent hits you in combat the first time, you will remain healthy. Only the second hit will move you to wounded, and so on. Well, and after that we go to normal injuries. Did I take the 6 points of honour? I did not. I will absolutely have those right now. It would have been nice not to spend 3 or 4 points in that fight, but it's a really hard fight. The sun, saffron-robed, has climbed high above you to your left, and now begins her long descent, as you come to river Cleonae. Its waters, reflecting her life-giving rays. In the distance you see Cleonae itself, and the woods wreathe the banks and the way to the town. The deep whirling river is spring-swollen, with the melting snow from the mountains, and a shallow ford is the only crossing. An aged crone stands, despairing, unable to cross, staring at the muddy waters. "Pity me," she pleads, "for I am old and weak. If you would carry me, I could cross the river. I wish I could stay here, otherwise I could stay here, and the stony-hearted hunger would take me, and it will be you who has killed me." We could attack her and beat her to death. I don't think we'll do that. We could throw her in the river and tell her to swim. No, we will carry her across the river, because this is blatantly the beginning of the story of Jason and the Argonauts. I think even the Enid Blyton version includes this. You pick the woman up and carry her into the water. The current is strong, but you find yourself pushing ahead quickly against it. Soon you are approaching the other bank, and the crone speaks, but her appearance is altered, and now you recognize her as Hera, the divine queen. "Altheus," she cries above the rush of the water, "you have done well, although you did not recognize me. You have done me a favour." She is not our patron, but she's still grateful. You are in favour with Hera. You may have 2 honour points. Excellent. Well, we could really do with those. And it is rare for a hero to be in her good books. Usually she's really generous and looks on them very unkindly. I mean, just look at Heracles. She was behind the machinations that set the 12 labours before him. And she sent 2 serpents to slay him in his cradle, but he strangled them as a baby. Right, 294, and we're going to get a clue very soon. You struggle across the rest of the river, your tired legs shaking with the cold. You hear something drop in the churning water. Perhaps you have dislodged a pebble. At length you struggle up the bank. But let's take the clue and go, no, wait, we might have actually dropped something rather serious here. You have dropped the jewel. This is what made the splash. You feel around and, after a time, you find it and put it back in the pocket of your tunic. You continue on to the town of Cleone and find an inn at section 266, and there, I think I'm going to... Oh no, okay, fine. The innkeeper welcomes you in when you knock, smiles and beckons you towards a room. You choose to have a meal first and retire, contented to a good night's rest. Not content, and retire contented to a good night's rest. In the morning you eat a hearty breakfast and carry on out of the town. Turn to section 3. We've gone to section 1, section 2 and section 3, all in the same episode. And I'm actually going to leave it here and pick it up next time. I think we've done okay, even with the 2 or 3 bloody restarts. That was a hard fight. It is optional. All it does really is give us an extra health point for the next fight, which isn't necessarily a hard one, depending on the paths we take from here. Now, the next episode will be interrupted and disrupted, because next Monday would fall on the tail end of the new game 3 episode special rule for Gothic Remake, which will come out on Friday. So I'll record Gothic Remake Friday, Saturday and Sunday night. I normally do Cretan Chronicles Sunday night. So I'll either record it Thursday night for a Friday release or on Monday night for a Tuesday release, just before recording Lone Wolf on Tuesday night for Lone Wolf Wednesday. However, I imagine that I'll probably be wanting to play Zero Parades for Lost Spies or Of Ash and Steel on Monday night instead, because I won't have played any of them since, like, oh god, yeah, actually, Tuesday this week, basically, Tuesday night? No, Monday night. Yeah. Because if I record Cretan Chronicles on Thursday night, that means I'm not getting one of my regular games in for almost a week. So yeah, I'll probably do it Tuesday next week instead of Monday and just slide it a bit. And I might look at bulk recording a few episodes just to get a bit of a backlog. But there we are. We are back in Book 1. We are going to make a concerted effort to reach the town of Eleusis instead of wherever the hell else I went on the way to Athens. Did I go all the way to Delphi? I think I did. Interesting. But this is the point where we need to make a decision, because we are either heading to Corinth or Kenchreia. One of which, I think Kenchreia gives an option to take a ship over to Athens or head along the coast. Corinth might let us cut across to Sirha and Delphi, which is possibly what we did, and then maybe Thebes. I'll take a look in between the next episode, because I'm trying to not entirely mirror my first playthrough, because obviously I missed out the town of Eleusis completely. So episodes will be a bit jumbled up next week, but videos will be coming out. I hope you'll all have enjoyed this one. Somewhat awkward though it may be, and I truly hope you appreciate my explanation of how difficult the fight with the Minotaur is without retaining all our equipment. And I'll look forward to seeing you all next time. I'm obviously going to be trying to avoid a lot of the shame that we racked up in the first book this time, but some of it is unavoidable. Okay, I'll say goodbye for now and see you all next time. Cheerio, everyone.